Hey there, this is your coach James Wilson here with the foundational movement workout. Now this is going to be the initial phase in your program, and you're going to notice a couple things about it. One, there's only one workout in this phase, and it's a relatively simple workout. And the reason for that is because I want you focusing more on your posture and breathing habits during this phase than trying to learn a bunch of complicated new exercises and things like that. So we want to keep it simple so that the relative newness of it wears off pretty quickly, and you're able to spend most of the phase really developing the body awareness and postural habits and breathing habits that you need to get you further along in further phases and also on your bike. So here we go, getting into the workout. So this workout is two circuits, 3 exercise circuits. So the first circuit, we're doing the RKC glute bridge, a quarter get up, and a farmer's walk. And again, if you're not familiar with a circuit, it means that you're going to do one set of your first exercise. You're gonna rest. You wanna rest long enough to let your breathing and heart rate drop back down to where you're not panting and breathing real hard. Like basically it's the talk test. If you have to, take a deep breath in between every couple words, you're not quite recovered yet. So when you're no longer panting, you're ready to move on to your next strength training exercise. So again, that brings me to a good point, which is focus on your recovery during your training session. So it's not just when you're working hard, but how effectively and quickly you can recover. So as you get better at that recovery time is going to get shorter, and you'll be able to get more work done in less time. So again, when you're done, when you've rested long enough to let your heart rate and breathing drop back down, you move on to the first set of the next exercise. And again, if you add a third or a fourth, however many exercises are in the circuit, and then you would just go back and start with the first and go through however many times. So that's how we do a circuit. The first one here is the RKC glute bridge. Show you how this one looks. So for this one, you're gonna need a pair of shoes, a pair of sandals, something like this. You're gonna get down in your glute bridge position. So that means that you're gonna be lying on the ground. You want your feet about 1 hand length away from your butt. So you don't want it real close, but you don't want them real far away. Okay, you're gonna take your shoes and you're gonna put them between your knees. And then what you're gonna do, you're gonna lie down, make sure your shoulders are down away from your knees. You wanna breathe in, take a good breath. You're gonna squeeze the shoes together. Then you're gonna squeeze your butt cheeks together as you push your feet into the ground, and you're gonna come up as you keep squeezing the shoes. Come up, hold, 2, 3. Keep squeezing the shoes as you come back down. Now at that top position, when I'm holding, I'm continuing to squeeze my glutes. I'm continuing to try to raise my hips, but I have to keep squeezing the shoes as I do it. So again, breathe in, squeeze the shoes, push out, or push the feet into the floor, squeezing the butt cheeks together, hold, 2, 3, and then back down. So again, squeeze the butt cheeks, coming up, hold, 2, 3, and then keep squeezing on the way back down. So remember, just keep squeezing the shoes. It really makes sure that we're keeping that core activated. We're not using the lower back, we're using the hips, which is real important for us to have down for our deadlifts, our swings, our hip hinge movements. So again, you may not be able to come up as high as when you don't do, you're not using the squeeze there, but that's okay. We just wanna, again, don't lose the knee squeeze in order to try to come up higher, because we're missing what we want. So the next exercise is our quarter get up. So you wanna start out body weight on this. You're gonna lie down on the ground, get started in like, again, a bridge position. Whatever side, you're gonna put one arm up, and that other leg goes down, and this arm goes down. You wanna make sure you don't have your arm in too close, okay? I don't want it out at 90 degrees, but if it's in too close to me, it's gonna make it real hard. So I want it out at least at 45, if not maybe a little bit higher. All right, I'm gonna get my shoulders pulled down away from my ears. So I wanna think about tucking my shoulder blades into my back pockets, and that'll help keep my shoulders in a good, strong position. So I'm gonna come up to my elbow, I'm gonna drive my heel into the ground, and I'm gonna drive this elbow into the ground, and I'm gonna come up. When I get to this position here, I'm gonna recheck my posture, all right? You wanna tuck those shoulder blades into your back pocket, make sure that chest is puffed out nice and strong, good strong posture here. When you're ready to come up to your hand, you're gonna push on your palm, meaty part of your palm, and you're gonna rotate the hands behind you, the fingers behind you. If you need to, you can pull it back a little bit, that's fine. Not too far back behind you though. And then again, you're gonna tuck those shoulder blades into the back pocket. Now watch, if I keep my fingers up, so if I come up and I just keep my hand in that same position, I can't really tuck this shoulder back. If I'm trying to tuck this shoulder blade into my back pocket, it won't really go. If I let the fingers come back behind me, that lets me get a much better shoulder blade tuck. So we want to make sure we're doing that. So again, coming down, make sure you're checking your posture, check your breathing, everything's strong. Now this is the important one. When you come down from your elbow to your back, the tendency is to let this just lose the shoulder position and kind of just come down like that. We don't want that. That's just the core collapsing down. So what we want to do is keep that shoulder blade tucked into the back pocket. You're going to feel your elbow driving hard into the ground as you keep that shoulder blade tucked and lower yourself down. So the whole torso will come down as a unit when you do it right. You don't collapse and roll down, okay? So real important you pay attention while you're doing that. Once you can do that with just body weight, you can take your shoe and balance it on your fist. And again, driving the elbow into the ground, coming up to your hand, check your, or your elbow, check your posture, up to the hand, check your posture, back down to the elbow, check your posture, and then back down. So you'll be able to balance that shoe on your fist, and then when you can do that, you can start adding load by holding a kettlebell or a dumbbell. So there you go, there's your quarter get up. Make sure you're doing your reps on both sides. So the next exercise is gonna be our farmer's walk. So for that, you're gonna need 2 relatively heavy kettlebells or dumbbells. They don't have to be the same load. If you don't have matching kettlebells or dumbbells, you can grab 2 different size ones, that's fine. You just wanna make sure you're holding, you know, 1 in each hand for this exercise. You're gonna get your weight, whatever you're using, stand up. Now, before you do anything, you wanna check your posture and your breathing, very important. So tuck those shoulder blades into your back pocket. Make sure you've got your collarbones nice and long, okay? Good, tall, strong posture here. You wanna check your breathing. You're gonna start your breath in your belly, and it's gonna end high in your chest. So when you do it right, you'll actually feel your chest expanding and your shoulder blades pulling down and back. So it will help reinforce this posture when you're breathing correctly. So once you've got that set, you're gonna hold it and you're just gonna walk a circle, a figure 8. As you can see, you don't need a lot of space to do this exercise. Just walk in a figure 8 pattern in whatever space I have, holding that posture and breathing. Now, as soon as one of those things go, okay, as soon as my shoulders start to round, because I can't keep my shoulder blades tucked back anymore, or my breathing starts to go, then that's the end of the exercise at that point. Don't worry about your grip at first. Your grip will become the weak link later. Right now we need to get your posture and your breathing where it needs to be, and then we can worry about that other stuff. So that's the farmer's walk. So that does it for your first circuit. Your second circuit is going to start off with a push-up. So a push-up's one of those basic exercises that people think maybe they get too advanced for, but really once you do it right, you'll see that you're never too advanced for a push-up, and that when you know how to do it right, a simple push-up, even a few reps, can be very hard if you're using tension correctly. So a couple things with your push-up. When you're getting set up, I don't want the hands out wide. Okay, I want the hands a little wider than shoulder width. This is no good, a little wider than shoulder width. If you're looking at me from the side, I don't want the hands underneath my face. This is not a good setup. I want the hands underneath my chest. Even this is no good. This is more like my neck. I want it directly underneath my chest. That's a good setup. Now once I get in this position here, before I start, I want to get my tension. I want to squeeze my butt cheeks, get my core tight, tuck my shoulder blades into my back pocket. Now I want to hold that tension while I do my push-up. So I'm going to breathe in on the way down while I keep that tension, and then out on the way up. Keep that tension in and out. Keep the shoulder blades tucked. That's going to be the tough one for a lot of you. Even if you've done a lot of push-ups and you're relatively strong with push-ups, you'll probably find that keeping the shoulder blades tucked all the way down and all the way back up is going to be tough. And you're going to have spots where they're going to want to round forward. So that's what you're going to want to look for, and make sure you're keeping that strong. So again, keep the tension strong in those areas. As you get better, you should be holding more tension. So the exercise never gets easier. You're just producing more tension. That's the idea. All right, the next exercise is going to be a half kneeling row. Now you're gonna need, if you're training at home, you'll need some sort of band, either like the rubber tubing with the handles on it, or one of these super bands or exercise bands that I like, because you can use them for assisted chin-ups and banded exercises. But something like this, if you're training at the gym, then you can use a cable unit or something like that. So what you're gonna do is you're gonna get set up in a half kneeling position. I'll just show you from the front here. When you're in a half kneeling position, the narrower your stance, the harder it is to hold. All right, so you want to start with, you know, at least a hip width, maybe a little wider than hip width at first to start. Make sure you're keeping your belly button pointed straight. Now the idea is that I'm really driving my weight into this knee here. This foot, this leg is light. Like I could lift it up ever so slightly if I needed to, okay? I'm not leaning into that, and that's very important. So my visual here is driving this knee hard into the ground. And when you do that, you're gonna feel your hip, your glute, your core get strong in the hip. So keep driving that knee strong into the ground, staying tall and thin on top of that base point while you do this exercise. It's more of a core training exercise than a lat exercise, so make sure you're training the core and focusing on it. All right, so getting set up, I'll show you using the super band thing here, or the big rubber band, whatever we call them. So you get it set, wrapped around something. You're gonna get in your half kneeling position, nice and tall and thin, and then I'm going to drive my elbows back behind me as far as I can, and then come back in. So if you need to, you may need to set the adjustment or get set a little bit. What you don't want is when you start to pull back, your weight shifts into this lead leg. You want to keep driving this knee hard into the ground and don't lean forward. Drive those elbows back behind you as you're doing it, and then back forward. So as long as you're driving that knee hard into the ground and you're focusing on driving your elbows back behind you more than just pulling your hands to your chest, then you're going to be doing good with this exercise. So you want to do your reps with one knee down, and then put the other knee down and do your reps with it, and then move on to the next exercise, which is the stagger stance squat. So for the stagger stance squat, you get set in a stagger stance position, which is feet about hip width apart. You're going to step slightly back with one foot. So we're not in a split stance here. The difference is I have like 80+% of my weight on this lead leg. I'm thinking single leg with a kickstand. Okay, I don't want to lean into my kickstand. So nice and tall and thin. Most of my weight's on this lead leg. Now what I'm going to do is sit my butt straight down, keeping my chest upright, and my weight on that lead leg. As I come down, then I drive through that lead foot, nice and tall and thin at the top, and then just repeat, coming down and back up. Now as you're doing this, remember to keep your shoulder blades tucked into your back pockets. You'll probably find that's the weak link. The lower body's probably not the hard part. You probably get to about here and start to feel the shoulder blades start to untuck. You have to keep those shoulder blades tucked until you can do all of your reps with good strong upper back position. We don't need to worry about moving on and adding load yet. So, you know, once we do, we can hold it in the goblet or the front, goblet position is the best place to start. You can also use the rack position. But anyways, master at body weight first. Keep that upper back nice and strong. So you're gonna do your reps on both legs with that. So that does it for the secondary circuit, and then you're gonna finish off with your cardio. And so you've got some explosive repeats here. You're gonna use some sort of cardio device, you know, bike, treadmill. You can get outside and run or ride, you know, whatever you have access to, a rower, some sort of cardio training equipment, you know, something to let you get your heart rate up. You're gonna go as hard as you can for 20 seconds, and then you're gonna, you know, rest, try to recover as efficiently as you can in 40 seconds, and then you're just gonna repeat that process. You know, you'll see you start out with 6 and then move up each week. So the idea is to go as hard as you can during the work interval and then recover as efficiently as possible during the rest interval. And also make sure that you're focusing on your breathing and posture as well. Don't push yourself harder than that breathing and posture can sustain. So if you find yourself starting to lose good breathing habits and good posture habits in order to try and push harder, don't do it. You're not gaining the benefit that you think that you are. You want to train that good posture and breathing to be able to sustain it and take it higher, not push past it into bad habits and see how hard you can lean into those bad habits. So anyway, so that does it for the first phase. Again, it's a lot about getting the mindset right, and then the rest of it will come easy. So make sure you put in that work in this first phase, and it'll really pay off for you. So anyways, hope you've enjoyed this workout. I'll talk to you in your next one.